coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
Missouri state workers are closer to getting a pay raise under a bill approved today by state lawmakers. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Taylor Freeman.
And I'm Evie Allen. Thanks so much for joining us. The bill is now on its way to Governor Mike Parson's desk, who's asking for the cost of living in Missouri to be adjusted. It means state workers would see an 8.7% raise. So here's what we know so far. This all comes as the state struggles to keep workers from leaving for better paying jobs. Nearly 1/4 of Missouri's budgeted positions in the Department of Corrections were vacant as of late last year, and 1/5 of positions in the Department of Mental Health were empty. This week, the governor said he hoped to sign this into law by early next month. Today, top sports executives headed to the Capitol to make their case for sports betting in Missouri. KOMU 8's Austin Wright is in studio to tell us more about the push to legalize sports betting as well as video gambling. Austin.
This morning, the Senate Appropriations Committee heard testimony from various organizations tied to sports and gambling. Senators deliberated on 2 separate bills aimed at legalizing sports gambling in the state. One of the bills would also expand video lottery terminals to businesses like bars and restaurants. Both bills for tax money on bets to go towards Compulsive Gamblers Fund.
We should just can Senate Bill 1 and go with Senate Bill 30, which would pass sports betting and put Missouri on par with 36 other states in the country, and stop tying it to slot machines on street corners, which the people of Missouri have clearly stated that they do not want.
The author of Senate Bill 30 hopes his measure can provide more funding to Missouri departments strapped for cash.
Surrounding states like Kansas, Illinois passed sports gaming in recent years, and as a consequence of that, Missouri is losing revenue that would normally go to our schools, to our educational institutions. That money has been bleeding to other states.
Last year, lawmakers almost passed sports betting, but it fell short in the final moments. The Senate committee did not vote on the bills this morning. Reporting in the studio, Austin Wright, KOMU 8 News.
All right, thanks, Austin. Pat Fowler has announced she's ending her campaign for re-election to the First Ward Council seat. Fowler cited her stepmother's failing health as a reason for stepping down, saying, quote, "I want to make certain she has my best attention and my best efforts." In her announcement, Fowler challenged everyone to continue to ask hard questions of ourselves. She will serve out the rest of her current term. Fowler's challenger Nick Knopf responded shortly after Fowler's announcement. He thanked Fowler for her 4 years of service to the First Ward, saying, quote, "I've shared with Pat that I look forward to working with her as an active and concerned citizen." He said he would continue to campaign, attend forums, and meet with residents. Knopf has a meet and greet tonight at 7 at the Columbia Fire Union building. According to the county clerk, Fowler's name will still be on the ballot. Well, it was a mostly rainy day today, and you might have even heard some rumbles of thunder. I know we did here at the station. And those storms have moved through, though, but our First Alert weather team says we could expect cooler temps tomorrow and into the weekend. So KOMU 8 First Alert weathercaster Kesley Cabellas is here to give us a look at the total amount of rainfall around the area.
And I know, Kesley, can you tell us how much rain we ended up getting around mid-Missouri, and also what we can expect this evening into tomorrow?
Yeah, so across mid-Missouri, we saw pretty more details on what you can expect tomorrow. That's coming up.
Thank you, Kesley. Well, President Joe Biden met with NATO leaders today before wrapping up his trip in Poland. President Biden attended a summit of the Bucharest 9, which consists of NATO members in Eastern Europe. The meeting mainly focused on continuing support for Ukraine against the Russian invasion. Biden says the Bucharest 9 are part of the front line of NATO's defense.
And you know better than anyone what's at stake in this conflict, not just for Ukraine, but for the freedom of democracies throughout Europe and around the world.
President Biden is traveling back home today and will arrive in Washington, D.C. later this evening. China's top diplomat met Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow today. Putin hailed ties between the two countries during the meeting, saying he expects China's president to visit Russia as well. The Chinese government has spoken against sanctions imposed on Russia after it invaded Ukraine, but the U.S. says China provided Russia military assistance against Ukraine.
Turkey's presidential spokesperson says the country has moved about 1.6 million people out of the areas impacted by the recent earthquakes. Ibrahim Kalin says the government is taking every precaution in case there are more aftershocks, and that means providing as much aid as possible to help people leave if they want.
and the means are available for people to leave. We are providing free airfare, we're providing free bus rides and train rides, and other facilities like hotels.
Colleen says the government is also providing resources for people who want to stay where they are, and that it will continue to support people staying and those leaving in the days and weeks to come. The Biden administration is expected to roll out a new border restriction as soon as next week. The new rule would affect migrants from applying for asylum in the U.S., specifically those who travel through other countries to get to the U.S.-Mexico border. The policy is similar to a Trump administration rule dramatically limiting migrants' ability to claim asylum.
Well, a new estimate finds the U.S. could face a default as early as June if Congress doesn't act to lift the debt limit. Officials say the U.S. will reach its debt limit as soon as summer or early fall. Lawmakers say there's considerable uncertainty on the nation's current economic outlook. Some economists say the Treasury could prioritize certain payments to bondholders that would buy time to resolve the issue. Well, a Proud Boys member charged in the January 6th insurrection wants former President Donald Trump to testify in his defense. Joseph Biggs and 4 co-defendants are on trial for their participation in the riot. Biggs' attorney announced the subpoena for Trump in court last week, but in other trials of January 6 defendants, judges rejected those subpoenas. Prosecutors haven't indicated whether or not they plan to reject it.
Here's what's happening right now. A January 6th rioter who threatened Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on January 6th has been sentenced to 38 months in prison. The rioter's defense lawyer asked for a sentence of 30 months, but the feds say the higher sentence was warranted because of his threat against the representative. Preliminary hearings began today for the man accused of killing 5 and injuring 22 more in the mass shooting at Club Q in Colorado Springs. The 22-year-old faces more than 300 criminal counts, including hate crimes. The detective in the case says the shooter ran a neo-Nazi website and used gay and racial slurs online. The hearing is expected to last until Friday.
Pittsburgh and Cleveland Amazon sites donated and distributed 1,400 cases of bottled water this morning to residents in East Palestine, Ohio. Tests on the drinking water don't show the water to be contaminated, but residents remain cautious. A spokesperson for Amazon says the company likes to understand what local communities around them need.
We like to be tapped into our local communities to know what they need and how we can support them. And right now what they need is bottled water, and so that's what we're here to give.
Other companies such as Costco, Go Buckeyes, and Goya Foods have stepped in to help. Still to come, today is Mental Health Day at the Capitol. Find out why one woman says the state needs to provide more resources.
And how one social media hashtag is helping to remember a veteran.
And after today's rainfall, we do stay dry for your day on Thursday, but we have some more chance for rain coming up later this weekend and into next week. I'll be talking about this next one starting on Friday night coming up.
But first, here's a live look over mid-Missouri from the top of our tower. This is KOMU 8 News at 5, coverage you can count on.
Well, people hoping to raise awareness for suicide prevention rallied at the state capitol today. This is the first year the Association for Suicide Prevention partnered with Aspire Advocates for Behavioral Health to sponsor a Day of Change. The organization's hosted its first ever You Are Loved rally. One organizer says the goal is to help lawmakers understand that investments in mental health and suicide prevention can save lives.
This is the most appointments that we've ever had. So we have probably over 100 appointments today.
During those appointments, advocates talk to lawmakers one-on-one. One mother says she's thankful for days like today because they encourage conversations around the topic that she says saved her life.
Growing up, my parents just really did believe in talking about mental health and things like that, and I believe it impacted them. It clearly impacted me.
She says that she will continue showing up at the Capitol to apply pressure to lawmakers, and if she stops showing to show up for advocacy days like today, it's a step backwards.
A local woman is carrying on her dad's legacy in a unique way. Find out how next.
And we saw some pretty decent winds gusting today with those showers and storms. Saw a wind gust maximum of 30 miles per hour in Columbia and 60 miles an hour in Cape Girardeau. And we are going to continue with these breezy conditions into overnight and into tomorrow. I'll tell you how that might impact our wind chill temperatures coming up.
When you think of pancakes, you might think of just another breakfast food. Well, for one family with the MU Law School, pancakes symbolize a bigger moment. KMU8's Harrison Vapnik is in studio with how a social media hashtag helps remember a veteran.
Evie, 5 years ago, Susan Combs began promoting the hashtag Pancakes for Roger to honor her late father, who served in the military for nearly 40 years. Today, the group served up those pancakes as part of the local fundraiser to give money to the MU School of Veterans Clinic. This year, the campaign has raised its most money yet. Posts using the hashtag on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook have come from nearly every state and 19 countries. Susan Combs says her father would be proud of how far the movement has come.
Because he was one of those guys that did good too. So I definitely learned from example, and I think he would think it was really cool and really neat. And it's, you know, it's a bit overwhelming just to see the impact and how many people are just excited about just having pancakes and posting a picture and helping veterans in the process.
You can help get involved in the Pancakes for Roger movement with a picture of pancakes with that hashtag. Reporting in the studio, Harrison Vapnik, KMU8 News.
Welcome back. The long pause on federal student loan payments is set to end later this year. The pause on payments began under former President Trump in March of 2020 at the start of the pandemic. President Biden continued it. Many are waiting to see if Biden's plan for mass student loan forgiveness will survive legal challenges, but payments are expected to resume in August. The FDA announced it has fined 4 makers of e-cigarette products today due to the makers failing to get authorization to sell their products in the United States. The 4 companies were warned to take the products off the market. The FDA said that the maximum fine for each violation is $19,000, and the companies will have 30 days to respond to the fine.
We'll have one final look at your forecast next. A Senate committee heard testimony for 2 sports betting bills earlier today. KMU8's Austin Wright is in studio to tell us more about the push to legalize sports betting as well as video gambling. Austin.
This morning, the Senate Appropriations Committee heard testimony from various organizations tied to sports and gambling. Senators deliberated on 2 separate bills aimed at legalizing sports gambling in the state. One of the bills would also expand video lottery terminals to businesses like some bars and restaurants. Both bills call for state gambling taxes to go toward education and the Compulsive Gamblers Fund. Last year, lawmakers also passed similar legislation, but it fell short in the final moments. Reporting in the studio, Austin Wright, KOMU8 News.
Now here's a look at what we're following for KOMU8 News at 6. Counselors and teachers are struggling to meet the demands of students seeking out mental health services. Tonight at 6, we'll tell you how a $19 million grant will help schools provide services faster.
And temperatures for the rest of your day today or tomorrow, we only get to temperatures in the lower to middle 30s by tomorrow afternoon. We do have a lot of sunshine though, but those breezy conditions are likely going to continue throughout much of the day tomorrow. And those cooler temperatures are also going to continue on Friday, where we see some slight more cloud cover on Friday. Some more warmer temperatures are going to be in store for your weekend and the beginning of next week. We're expecting our next big chance for rain starting on Monday.
Very cool.
This is going to go up over the weekend. So
yeah.
I look forward to that.
Me too. We like these good weekends.
Yes,
yeah.
Hanging in the 30s is not very fun.
No, certainly. All right, well, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again at 6 o'clock. Have a great rest of your afternoon. And Nightly News is next. You can relax now.